We are live, sir.
Thank you. Just give me a sec. Good evening, everyone. I hope the audio and video is fine. Anybody who can just give me a quick thumbs up to confirm whether the audio and video is fine. Good evening, everyone. I'm just waiting for one or two message to check whether the audio and video is fine so that we can start. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So first of all, just to inform you that why this session has been planned, for the last 3-4 days, we are getting a lot of queries from the students, specifically from the 2019 batch, because of the notice, because of the various informations that are happening regarding the next exam, which might or might not be there in this year. So this session is specifically planned for the 2019 batch students. That means those who have joined the MBBS in 2019 batch. We all know that we will be soon having a next exam, but this session is not about that when this next exam is gonna be there. The session is about that if next exam happens and 2019 batch, which is basically an experiment batch for almost all the things that are happening. So what those students should do. I always believe that there are two kinds of students, and as I always say that there is one who are thinker and then the second who are doers. So thinkers are the one who just keep on thinking that, oh, if this exam is going to happen, this is what we're going to do. This exam is going to happen, this is what we're going to do. And there are doers which believe that it is better to prepare for the worst possible thing so that if something happens, you are prepared for it. So this is specifically so that if it becomes a reality, which is a very, very big chance, so that it is not coming as a big shock to you and you are very well prepared to take care of your preparation. But because the biggest challenge is that majority of the students have this thought in the mind कि you have 1.5 years to prepare for a PG entrance exam, and suddenly you know that there is not 1 year and you have only 6 months or 7 months to prepare for the exam. So what you should do. Today I have a privilege that I am being joined by the biggest name for postgraduate medical entrance exam, Dr. Thameen Saif. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody. It's always a privilege to be with all of you, Dr. Saurabh, Dr. Nachiket, Dr. Rajat.
And good evening, sir.
And I also being joined by one of the biggest motivator, जिनकी बातें सुन के मैं खुद motivate हो जाता हूँ, Dr. Saubabh Jindal. Good evening, sir. How are you? Sir, you are on mute.
Thank you, sir, for that kind intro, and always a pleasure to meet all of you and get the energy that you drive. So we are all a recipient of all your energies that you're sending out to students also. Thank you.
और आप सब लोगों के डॉक्टर नचिकेत तो ज्वाइन कर ही रहे हैं. He will also discussing some part about, because I think for the last few years the maximum research that somebody has done on the next exam is Dr. Nachiket Bhatia. I feel कि probably जितना लोगों ने स्केड्यूल और नेक्स्ट का करिकुलम बनाने में रिसर्च नहीं की होगी, डॉक्टर नचिकेत ने नेक्स्ट एग्जाम के ऊपर उतना रिसर्च किया हुआ है. Okay, so we're gonna take this session as more of a discussion. Please put your queries into the chat, but I have a sincere request that the queries should only be focused about how to study. Whether the exam is gonna happen, whether the exam is not gonna happen, दिसंबर में होगा, जनवरी में होगा, फरवरी में होगा, इन बातों को थोड़ा साइड में रखते हैं. इसके ऊपर let us focus on only one point, that if we have to write the exam, how I should utilize my next few months in the best possible way. So, sir, I will start with you, Dr. Thameen. Sir, you are, I mean, it's been more than 2 decades that you are mentoring students, and you have seen almost all changing pattern of the exams in last so many years. What is your take on this? That another changing pattern of exam, how the student should react to it, and what should be their strategy, and specifically focusing upon those students who have this mindset they have to write the exam after 1.5 years, and now they have to write it in the 6 months time, and whether they should focus more on the first year and the second year subject, or whether they should focus or more on the final year subject. What is your take on this, sir? Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Rajat. So it reminds me of the, the many changing patterns that I've seen in these 23 years. I remember when PGI was multiple choice, became single choice. Then AIMS changed its pattern. Then from AIMS, it was handed over to National Board. Major change happened in the year 2013, and National Board started conducting exams. And every time, one thing I've noticed is sometimes, people have this feeling, like particularly when National Board was involved in making the paper, and the exam typically used to happen those days in the month of Jan. And in the August, September, when we were taking classes, people used to come and ask us, sir, they are saying exam might be in November. So what is your take on this? And those days also we used to tell we have no news of what is going to happen. That is something that is not in our hands, but we can prepare you for it. And there were many of them at that time also used to feel कि यार नहीं होगा, हर साल इतने साल से नहीं हुआ है तो अभी भी नहीं हुआ, it will not happen. Like, that kind of thing, wishful thinking. But then really it did happen in November. It was a surprise to many of the students. And I think at this point, we have seen it all, and we've seen it in the last 2 decades. The people who are well prepared, who have the perspective, it's a major exam that will change the next 3 decades of their life. If they are sincere, if they are careful about how they prepare, there's no harm in it. Worst comes to worst, it may not happen. It will still help them in their preparation. But if it does happen, I mean, if the exam is suddenly announced and they are going to write a next exam, they have to sit for long hours. They have to be mentally prepared for it, physically be prepared for it. So many challenges are there. So unless somebody is really preparing for it, I think they are going to face an uphill task, and they're going to have a lot of problems. So my suggestion, best be prepared for the worst. And the very few signs that we are seeing, it might be that the exam might be this year. And overall, we are just teachers here. We are not aware of what the government is going to plan and what they're going to announce. But from our side, we just want to make the students aware that these things have happened before you also for the previous batches. And the ones who are prepared did well, and the ones who are taking it casually, wishful thinking, कि नहीं होगा यार, how can it happen? It will not happen this year also. So that kind of thing might be taking it too casually, and your life is too, your career is too precious to let it slip through your fingers like that. So the problem is there right now. What can we do about it? I just a few sentences I want to speak on that also. So now that we are aware key possibilities that they're going to have an exam, what can you do about it? So those who are in the final years, what are the what changes can you do in your preparation from what has been happening all these years? One is, I think now there is very significant shortage of time for you to start reading standard textbooks now. I think that might be a little difficult. Use books more for references, and focus more on trying to cover final year subjects which are there for you, at least the subjects that they are saying in next they are going to have exams for you. So I think that should be the major focus. Now ultimately, all said and done, whatever ups and downs in exams we've seen the last this is my 23rd year in teaching. What I've noticed is whatever exam comes, this exam changes, another exam comes, that exam changes, another exam comes. You need to understand the human nature of it is key. When somebody is asked to make questions, nobody wants to put the effort. Most of the effort somebody's already put, and much of it is there in the MLE books. So those questions that are there, those topics will not change. We have not seen them change in the last 2 decades. I can't imagine them changing now also. So the topics that are running around in the exam, they'll not change. They are picked up from the, there's a basic bench from where they're picking up those questions. And that baseline from where the topics are coming and where they're circulating, they'll not change. Yes, current topics are being added in the thing. The hot topics, new guidelines which come, they are added. But then there are a few very clear things. We know those, like something if I want to give it a perspective, I say, see, Harrison is not textbook of medicine, it's principles of medicine. If you know the principles, then you can manage any problem. They'll just teach you the pathophysio principles behind how to understand a disease. Once you understand that, then you can manage the patient, you can diagnose the patient, you can do everything. So the whole goal here that I'm trying to put forward is focus on understanding the subject. Be more concerned, be more I think the casual approach might be too expensive for you in the future. So I think you have to be more aware that there is a significant potential chance that you might be writing this kind of exam in the future, very near future. So what are the things you can do about it is, finally, I would say try to focus more on the subjects that you have. Trying to do all 19 subjects now in this final year might be very difficult for you. Secondly, focus more on the final year subjects because significant marks are there for that, particularly in medicine, surgery, OBG, I think would be very important. At the same time, I think you should start sitting and giving long exams, mock exams. Unless you give mock exams, people say, "Kis, I'm not prepared. How should I give the exam?" I'm yet to see in these 23 years somebody who said they are prepared. Part of preparation is giving exams. So unless you give exams, you'll not be really prepared for it. So give the exams and get used to it. Don't forget that you're going to be writing 540 questions in a day. I mean, long papers in a day, and totally over the 3 days, 540 questions, which is a significant number of questions you'll be handling. So I think getting used to that physical thing, that long duration of exams, getting the idea of eliminating options, writing, a lot of multiple choice questions, and be involved in the system. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. You might learn, but that might be costly, spending, wasting 1 year additionally, where you could have easily, if you have done a little preparation, you could have done well. So these are the few thoughts that I had. Rajat, over to you.
Sir, I mean, it is so mesmerizing to listen to you that I got completely lost in completely into the points that you were mentioning. And I think I was remembering the time that when I prepared for my exam and you were taking our class. Dr. Saurabh, I have a question for you. And I feel that obviously I will come back to Dr. Thameen again in some time. But one of a very, very big challenge that students are messaging me, ki, sir, how they will write 6 exams. Writing one exam was a very, very big challenge, and now they will be morning, evening exam, and that is continuously for the 3 days. The stress will be enormous. So what is your suggestion to the students that how they can handle this specific part over the next 6 months, 7 months, and also about if you have some special suggestions for them about how to complete the subjects in the given amount of time? Over to you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rajat. Great listening to Dr. Thameen as usual. About this challenge that's coming up, and I think, dear students, what I want all of you to know, one thing is, as Dr. Thameen said, the topics usually remain the same. You can juggle around inside the topics for MCQs A, B, C, that can change, but the topics really remain the same. So first point that I think we start with the discussion itself is the biggest challenge is going to be the person who's going to stay calm versus the person who's not going to stay calm. I think the first bifurcation on students say, sir, मैं कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं, is the second question. First question is, क्या आप शांत रह पाओगे या आप शांत नहीं रह पाओगे? First point is, it's very easy to panic because everybody else is panicking around you. So, we are almost like monkeys. We copy behavior of other people around us. So what I think all of us should understand is, if you can keep calm people around you, that itself is half the battle won. So talk to your teachers. Obviously, you can see all of us are calm enough to tell you what you should do. So stay in touch with us. Ask us what's going on in your head, and then take solutions from there. We are not in the same boat as you are, so kind of it's easier for us to be calm about it and peaceful about it. So the first thing you start with is, you start with the belief that this is possible. So that is the first belief I want you to start with. Once you get through that phase, I'm not saying that is easy because nobody else has the belief right now. And most of us have belief after we have achieved something. I want you to have belief before you have achieved something. So that's a difference in belief itself. So that's the first, I think, starter point on what I want you to have. Second point about how to finish that kind of a portion in time. Now, what we know is 6 months is enough. Okay, that's the first start point of what you want to do. If you start with the belief that it is too short a time, मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा. I've had, for example, we have had so many interviews of old toppers, and I interviewed one person very recently who's done very well in the INI-CET, also in the NEET exam, and he was an intern. I said, how much time did you get in your interview? He said, I used to get 2-3 hours, and he's done that well. So what I'm trying to tell you is, this is definitely on the cards. What I want you to do to finish that kind of a portion, as sir said, focus on the final year subjects. And the basic skill that is required to finish that kind of portion in time is what I call as be a fast reader. I'll give you 2 kinds of students. Let's say somebody, my subject, let's say somebody does dermatology in 4 days, versus there's one more student who's done 2 revisions of 2 days each. Now, the one who's done 2 days of two days revision each, he'll say, no, sir, it was too fast. I don't think I picked up. It was too quick. But I can tell you in all my experience of that many years that people who have been able to do multiple revisions in the same amount of time versus somebody who's taken more time for one revision, there's a massive difference right there. So no, we have basically the point is we need to be fast in reading, even if you feel that it's too quick for your assessment, for internalization, because most of us do this. You read the line and then you say, no, I have not done this properly. So you come back to the first word on the same line. Again, you do this, again, you come back. So we don't want this yo-yo thing to be done. The first point is get your final year subjects and be quick. That's the first point I want you to understand. I think that's really the key. As all of us also say, make your 20th notebook. That I think all of us really agree with. 19 subjects, difficult, but get one book where you actually put that volatile things which you can then revise at the end. That's actually a really must do that I think all of us really need to go ahead with. And as Dr. Thameen rightly said, the bigger challenge I feel is not whether you are going to be able to finish the portion. That is a task, yes, but the bigger task is, can you keep the concentration for 40 questions? Now, most of us, see, I can even vouch for myself. We also belong, and you even more, to what we call as a distracted generation. We are distracted generations. Okay, we cannot sit. We cannot kind of sit without doing something here and there. So our mind is always wavering. The point with 540 questions, I feel the biggest test is not even your knowledge. Biggest test is whether you can keep focus for that long, whether your back hurts, whether your head hurts, whether your mind is straightforward. And I think that only comes by repeating that action before that exam comes. So try to sit for that long, try to have a mock exam where you kind of do that again and again so that you will understand. And again, one thing that I genuinely believe, if you can sacrifice one thing, sacrifice almost all your social media apps. That's the biggest head up for your focus and concentration training. All of us need to have that training. See, what happens is you get up in the morning, you're scrolling. When we do this, okay, then your brain centers are used to flicking. And what you need in that 540 is not to flick, right? So once you do that, you're training yourself for failure. So I think the biggest challenge for all of us is stay away from phones, stay away from medias, stay away from negative people who are giving you that vibe, and then kind of trust and then get ahead. Dr. Rajat, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Saurabh, for this excellent advice. I think this is the same statement that I keep on saying to the students daily about limit your social media, because that is, from my side, I will say that the single most important thing that takes them toward the success is an focused, non-distracted studies. And 6 months is a good enough time to move from zero to whatever highest point that they are looking for, provided they remain disciplined and they are able to maintain a schedule and they are able to read it, the subjects in a given amount of time. And as Sir has rightly mentioned, Sir's statement was echoing, Dr. Thameen's statement was echoing in my mind, he has yet to see a student in his life who has completed or who has satisfied with the preparation or who has completed everything. कहीं ना कहीं तो कुछ ना कुछ हमेशा ही लगा रहेगा. So there is no definition of completion in medicine, but there are always some must know points and some good to know points. Identify that aspect and make a schedule for them and divide it in a way that you are able to finish a particular subject in a given amount of time. So if I just put it into the perspective of 2019 batch once again, let us assume, please remember all these are assumptions, as I always believe that prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That is how, and I am a doer. I am not just a thinker who will just keep on thinking ki yaar ye nahi hoga ya ye hoga. Let us assume it in the way that in the worst possible scenario, you will be writing your exam in the second week of December. So that means you have got 6 months available for your preparation. And let us assume that everything goes in this particular way. Am I prepared for the exam? That is what I am thinking of. We will fight the case, ki nahi, ye nahi hona chahiye, etc., etc. But the net result is, let us say it is happening. Am I prepared for it? Let's talk about this particular part. The answer is yes. Even if you start today, it is very much possible. My suggestion to you is you have to focus presently on the subjects which are directly being asked in the exam. That does not mean, please remember, I'm not undermining the importance of the first year and the second year subject. Anybody says that Dr. Rajat has said the first year, second year should not be done. No, not at all. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that at this stage of the time, if I have to complete it, I'm going to put more focus onto the subject that are directly being asked in the exam. So that means medicine, surgery, OBG, pediatrics, ENT, ophthalmology, PSM, and short subjects. Okay. My first year and the second year, I'm going to incorporate them as we are talking about that is an integrated part. Any student who is not from 2019 batch should not even think about what I'm trying to tell you. This is exclusive session only for the 2019 batch. The first thing is, please pull up your socks and be sincere on this particular part, that if you have to write the exam in the second week of December, you are ready for it. Whatever extra days, whatever extra months that you are getting is a bonus. Everything is a bonus. Am I ready to write the exam in the second week of December? The answer is yes. And if you're ready for that, then we're going to move forward to how to go about it. As I told you, medicine, surgery, gynae of pediatrics, ENT, ophthalmology, PSM, and short subject. We're going to majorly focus only for the 2019 batch. I'm not talking about an intern. I'm not talking about a post-intern. I'm not talking about a 20 batch, 21 batch, 22 batch, 23 batch, any batch. It's only for the 2019 batch that I am talking about this particular part. There are two aspects of a preparation. One is called as knowledge enhancement, and the second is called as knowledge testing. You have to take care of both the components. In this, as Sir has said, as Dr. Saubabh has said, testing your nerve is a very, very important part. Are you able to maintain the same level of focus for the entire duration of the exam for all the 3 days in all the 6 sessions? That is going to be a very, very big key. What is going to happen? Some people will perform extremely well on the day 1. By the time they're going to go to the day 3 and they will be writing the exam, पता चला कि उन्होंने अपना 50% ही एफर्ट मारा उसके अंदर. That should not happen. Imagine sprint से marathon की तरफ जा रहे हैं. That you have to understand. So that means you have to have that equal amount of focus on this. So that means knowledge enhancement is definitely important, but knowledge testing will also be an important component over here. You have to prepare for those set of integrated questions that is going to be there from the medicine, surgery, those kind of questions which assesses the application part of it. And that is how. Now let us try to go to an individual subject. I will start with Dr. Thameen again. Sir, what do you think how a student should read medicine, considering the medicine as not just the medicine, along with that 120 questions of the medicine that they have to write in one paper?
So I think one thing is for sure, if they're going to have 120 questions, that means the area that they'll cover will be quite large. It does not be a focus zone. So in this aspect, I think, as I keep telling you, if you are clear with your concepts, if you know the application, then you are going to do very well. So how can we build this up? I think one of the major guides I would say is keep your questions in front. The topics that are circulating the last 20 years, I can assure you, no matter what the kind of exam they give, those topics will not change. So keeping some of the previous year questions in mind, some of the questions that are circulating, those will give you a rough guide. Okay, this is the area that we need to focus on. So keep those things in mind and then start focusing. But at the same time, if you can attend any of the classes where we're discussing principles, we're discussing concepts. See, we don't expect at your age, at your point, to read Harrison. I think with that homework we have done for you. So if you can listen to any of the teachers, so many of them are there now who are giving good lectures, who are covering subjects in a very a conceptual way. I think that also is going to be a very big help at this point. So the whole idea of this session, I think, is not just about preparing for any individual subject. The whole thing, first of all, I think, is to that kind of casualness we are seeing in people. We just want to shake them up out of their sleep and say ki bhaiya kya kar rahe ho? This is now you're taking too many chances here. Something really is coming up now and you have to wake up for this. So to the bottom line, to answer the question Dr. Rajat said, I would say do look at the previous year questions for medicine, number 1. Number 2, keep that as your guide and start preparing the topics. Number 3, focus more on conceptual areas. Number 4, don't just look at medicine, integrate it with other subjects. Like, for example, they're talking about stroke. They are trying to write in their book and they are putting forward this very important idea. You can't have, we can't become mechanics. Means you can't have a gynecologist only thinking below pelvis. We want the person to look at a whole body to assess the whole person. So hypothyroid patients can come with menorrhagia. You should know the connections. Stroke is there and stroke radiology part is there. Stroke medicine part is there. That integration, they are trying to give it together. We saw questions already in NEET and they're going towards that step. They're saying that a child has got, cyanosis and the ECD showed left axis deviation. Now that kind of a picture, like it's a pediatric question, but it's medicine also because they're asking about ECG. So you should know if you get left axis deviation, what condition you get it. The point that means is these kind of exams, you just can't memorize. The days of people who memorize are gone. Those who are focusing on understanding the subject will tend to, fare much better in the system. Sheer memory power or just I'll just ram through this process may not really work in your favor. So I think these are all the things that you need to remember as far as preparation is concerned. And finally, before I finish, I just want to say one thing, just start. And one question I saw very interesting, he said, sir, how can we take away the addiction of social media, which is one of the biggest distractions now? See, we all became doctors because we have the concept of delayed gratification. That means we don't get tempted by that immediate pleasures, that small things, that small joy you get by looking at some YouTube or reading some WhatsApp. That sacrifices you give only something great you achieve in life. That reward that is there for you in the future is much more greater than this immediate small, short time small pleasures. Something really better is there for you. So I think that is what we mean by delayed gratification. Something better you will get if you are persistent, if you are careful, if you don't waste your time. So I think this is what I had to say, Rajat.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So guys, देखो बहुत ही simple है. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a schedule for you. That even if you have to finish your final year subjects, how you can do that in a given amount of time. But please make sure that, as I told you, that the knowledge enhancement and knowledge testing both has to go together. Dr. Saurabh, do you have any special suggestion about how to handle these subjects in this given amount of time, apart from, you said multiple revision is gonna be definitely key. I mean, I completely agree with you that more number of time you're gonna revise, but I will slightly differ from you in one small point, is I always believe that whenever you are reading, it should not be too fast also, it should not be too slow also. I mean, what I always say to the student, that it should be apt amount. Because sometimes my experience has been that a lot of students, what they do is they're just ticking the box that they have to complete it, and they're just completed it just to put what is called as a checkbox kind of technique. My idea is that a first reading is basically to get an acquaintance with the subject, with particular topic, because every topic has got two broad components. One is a conceptual learning, and the second is a stuff that has to be memorized. The first reading is not to memorize the stuff. It is basically to get that conceptual learning, the basic behind that particular topic. In the second reading, you memorize part of that stuff. And in the third reading, you memorize it completely. That is a strategy that I have always followed myself in every pattern of exam, that first go through the entire topic once to understand that what is the basic crux of it. If you have not understood it, take the help of your senior, take the help of your teacher or your friend in understanding that particular topic. Whatever stuff that you have to memorize, write it separately, what I call it as a 20th book, that facts are forgettable. And in the second reading, quickly go through the concept once, try to memorize the fact. And in the third reading, focus more on the factual stuff. That is how a broad understanding that I have developed over a period of time. I want to take, Dr. Thameen sir and Dr. Saurabh, both of you can differ from me in the opinions also. It's not like that we are on the same platform, so we will have to give the same opinion to everybody. So what is your take on these points that I am mentioning?
I think very correctly told, Rajat. I think you have given a very good, awareness. I think the most important thing that we are trying to do here is to make people aware that reality is there waiting for you. Closing your eyes, hoping it will not happen, may not be the right approach. It is possible it may not happen, but if it does, they need to be prepared for it. What are they doing for it? So one is, as we suggested, they need to be more serious. That's definitely there. There's no denying in that. Secondly, they need to change their preparation. They should be more MCQ oriented from now onwards. Third is key, they should get into the habit. The only real way to overcome stress is to get repeatedly exposed to stress. That means they have to sit for long hours. They have to give mock exams, the full mock exams. And as I said, key, you can't say, okay, I'm not prepared. How can I give the exams? Giving the exams itself part of preparation. So sitting for long duration, sitting for long hours, whatever sessions they are doing, they need to have longer sessions. Maybe they can start with 1 hour session, increase it to 2 hour session, then 3 hour session. So they need to increase their stamina. And finally, as I keep saying, this is what we saw in 2013 also. Many people had that feeling at that time. No, yaar, it will not be. It will be in January. How can it be? Suddenly, when 2 months they preponed the exam in November when it came, it was a shocker. The pattern had changed. A lot of they had, instead of a single paper, we had 20 sessions being conducted, and 4,000 questions had to be prepared by them. For them also, it was very difficult to make those questions. So the way the questions came, I mean, those days also, I remember when people were panicking. We had sessions like these, and we told them in the class, there's no need to worry. Just focus on understanding the subject. If you got at that in your hand, then any exam, anything you can face. And finally, at the end of it, I can only say, but those who want to, have a dignified life, there are some sacrifices that are required from them. They have to be prepared to give it. Otherwise, they'll not be, able to live that kind of a dignified life that we all desire.
Sir, in one line, if I have to put it forward, your only suggestion is कि social media को छोड़ दो और 6 महीने के लिए मेहनत कर लो और पढ़ लो. If you're able to do this, you will definitely be able to reach to the target that you're looking for. So now, I mean, in the interest of time, I will straight away go to Dr. Nachiket. Dr. Nachiket, are you here?
Boss, I'm here.
Yeah. So now, what do you have for the students? Any student who is looking for some help from DBMCI, do you have anything for them in terms of both knowledge enhancement as well as knowledge testing? What they can do? And I'm specifically, as I told you, focusing on 2019 batch.
So, boss, basically, guys, we have created this perfect solution for you. And you all very well know that NExT is not something new. Everybody has been talking. Twitter is full of NExT right now. Every day I'm getting more than 100 messages. NExT kab hai, NExT kab hai. So finally, we had this internal discussion. We thought, why not make a program for all the 2019 students to make them actually prepare for NExT? If it happens, all right, there's always a big if involved in Indian decisions and everything. So if it happens, our students should be prepared for it. That's the whole ideation behind it. Okay, it's better to be prepared than better to be sorry. It's as simple as that. So guys, we have prepared this very simple plan. All right, just give me a second. I'll open up the plan. I'll show you the complete schedule that we have prepared for you guys. All right. And hold on a second.
Okay, so in the meanwhile, when Dr. Nachiket is opening the schedule for you, I also want to tell you, see, there is one more point, and I'm just trying to be a small devil's advocate over it. Let us say that the NExT does not happen. Will it be worth? The answer is still yes, because what we are doing is we are learning the subject. We are not taking you away from the subject. We are learning the subject in an organized manner, and that is what we are broadly doing it. So this is a small scheduled kind of help that we are planning to give it to you. Dr. Nachiket, over to you.
So guys, this is the batch that we are launching specially on DBMCI Live. And this batch covers all the clinical prof subjects you need to know for the next one, which is going to happen, which most probably is going to happen. And this batch is starting on 29th of June with none other than Dr. Jay Arora with the surgery class. And the best part, it is we have created this batch to make sure it doesn't collide with your college timings. It's an evening batch. As you can see, the classes on Thursday, Friday, Saturday are moving only in evening. Also Monday, Saturday, it's 2 to 9. I'm sure you guys can manage that much. But the rest all, it's completely clinical. It's completely in the evening. Now, this batch is going to have the complete next level education. All right, it will have integration, and we have all the 3 faculties who are going to be teaching in this batch. Okay, Dr. Rajat, if I talk about it, so what is going to be your strategy, and Dr. Thameen sir, Jindal sir, what is going to be your strategy while you're teaching this particular batch in the Beat the NExT batch in the DBMCI life, sir?
See, the whole idea when we were creating the schedule was very, very simple. And it was like that the student should be able to answer all those 120 kind of questions that is going to be asked from their particular subject in a big subject, and those 60 kind of question. So whatever the integrated component of the other subjects that is going to be there are going to be part of it. See, the ultimately whole idea is that if you're going to look at it nowadays, in fact, even if you look at the today's pattern of the NEET exam, the questions are not asked from a subject. The questions are asked based on the diseases. So it will be the disease based pattern. Like if you're talking about the pulmonary embolism, what is the rationale of the pulmonary embolism, why it is happening, and from that, how it is diagnosed and to how it is treated. All those components are being specifically being taken care on this particular part. So ultimately, each subject that is being catered is going to cater in that particular way that is going to complete paper in itself. And that is the predominant target which has been planned on this. And as Dr. Nachiket has already mentioned, focusing on to the 6 papers that we are getting.
Just want to add one point, Dr. Rajat. See, from our end as teachers, what we are doing is particularly looking at the curriculum that NMC is giving, and whatever topics they have assigned. This is must-know topics for the student. We are trying to make sure that we are covering those at least in our classes, so that nothing is left for thing. And whatever conceptual approach, obviously that is the building block. But we are ensuring most of the things that the NMC is giving in their syllabus, we are touching upon.
One thing that students are also bringing out again and again is one person is asking us whether the notes that we are creating for all of you is it enough. So that I think is a good point that we're discussing at this shorter time. I think, and that we even say, even if you have 1 full year, I think all of us agree on the page that please don't switch your sources too much. I want all of you to understand that you have to trust one source, trust the teachers who are talking to you, and trust your notes. The more you get this FOMO feeling, the more bigger problem is you're trying to put in other people's apps, information in those small chits, making into the notes, and we are concising into our notes, and then you're making it a textbook. So what is happening is you're not retaining anything. So you come out of the exam and you say, "Arey, meri kitab mein to tha, lekin mujhe yaad nahi raha." So what's the point of doing all of this? You're wasting 2 times. You're first trying to put new notes, then you're trying to remember it, and ultimately you don't remember the common things. So please trust the fact that the note that we're going to create in this Beat the Next schedule, trust us that we know what is to be taught, trust it completely. Do not even mistrust it. For example, sometimes students say, "Sir, आपने ना ये चीज छोड़ दी." अब वो जानबूझ के छोड़ी गई आपके लिए ताकि आपको नहीं पता होनी चाहिए वो. So as teachers, we need to know, more importantly, what not to teach you. So that please trust us on that, and notes are more than sufficient. Don't change your sources, please.
Yeah, I mean, very, very aptly said. And I think I'm glad that Dr. Saurabh, that you have taken up this particular point. Record me on this particular part, that whatever that has been taught to you in DBMCI would be more than sufficient for any pattern of exam. I mean, you can record me on this and we will talk about it after the exam. We have seen this in so many years. And I'm very, very proud to say that particular part, that you can record this, you can take a screenshot of the message that I have written, that irrespective of the pattern of the exam, because for the last, I mean, sir is doing it for 23 years. I am also doing it for last 17 years now. And this is not just a profession for us, this is a passion for us also. So, and the best thing in the life that can happen is your passion becomes your profession. So right now it is both the things for us. And I always say this in my class, that I don't know whether you are sincere for your exam or not, but we are definitely very, very sincere for the exam, for the pattern. We will not leave any stone unturned in any form to give you what is needed for the exam. I mean, it goes unsaid without anything. So now let's, Dr. Nachiket, over to you. Sorry to interrupt you in the middle.
No, sir. Thank you. So guys, basically, if you want to know the details about this particular batch, you can see that I've written everything on the screen as well. You can visit dbmci.com and we will start the admission for this batch from 12 p.m. tomorrow on dbmci.com. All right, you can visit dbmci.com and you can check out all the complete details of this particular batch. This is the complete schedule starting from 29th of June, focused on 2019 batch. Now, what you are going to get in this is very important. First of all, recording of the class shall be given. That's not something new. You are going to get the Advanced Plus plan for 8 months. And then The best part is you are going to get LMRP, that's the last minute revision point book, most essential single liners, to the point book, that's the hard copy of previous year questions, medicine essence and simplified by Dr. Bhatia, and revision notes of DBMCI. So while you are going to make the main notes, but at the end, when you just need to revise, we are going to give you the revision notes included in this package. All right, that's the most important thing. But if you are a person who is not willing for a live class or who just wants to focus on the recorded part, eGurukul has the third and fourth prof combo as well, in which you are going to get all the clinical subjects recorded. That means the third and final year subjects. All right. Now the complete recordings, QBank, test series, revision videos, test and discussion. For the next 6 months, you can go ahead, check the prices on egurukulapp.com. And if you are already studying from another source, as Jindal sir has clearly said, please do not change your source at this very moment. I agree with sir. If you're going with any other source, be it Marrow, Prep, DAMS, but what I can advise you is you can very well check out the eGurukul's new QBank, which I'm telling you is amazing. I mean, Dr. Rajat is one of the creators. Jindal sir is there. Thameen sir is the one who's directing us all what we all need to do. And that plan is the basic plus plan on eGurukul, which has the QBank as well as the test series. But before I move forward, I want you guys to see the QBank that we have created. Trust me, I believe that is one of the best.
Dr. Nachiket, I have a question for you as a devil's advocate over here.
Absolutely, boss.
In the grand test, will you give them the grand test on if the NExT gets announced on the new pattern NExT GT as well? Will it be a part of the program?
Absolutely. The moment NExT is announced, all our grand tests will happen for the 2019 batch in the new pattern only. All right, we'll conduct a 3-day 540 MCQ.
And the second question that I have for you is, any student who enrolled for the live batch, will he be getting the access of the QBank and the GT series?
Absolutely. You will be getting the recorded videos, the QBank, the test series, test and discussion, revision videos, everything. All right. So this is all a part of your package.
Okay. Yes.
So my question to you, Dr. Rajat, when you created this QBank, you can see the beautiful QBank right now. This is a sample question, my friends. Boss, this is a surgery question. So what was your understanding behind this high yield, behind this extra edge?
Yeah.
This is a huge explanation, by the way.
Yeah. So see, बहुत ही simple aspect है. If somebody asks me, as Dr. Thameen has also mentioned, that what is the best way to study is read the standard textbook of all 19 subjects. That is the best thing that can happen. And obviously, but ultimately what happens is that we try to consolidate our material into the stuff that gives me more priority or more yield. And that is how it happens. Then it all depends on how much time that you have. A lot of time when people come for a counseling and ask me, sir, how should I prepare? The first question that I ask from the student is, tell me what is your aim and what is your genuine aim? What are you expecting? Are you planning to get a rank in top 10? Or do you want to have a government seat, a clinical government seat, or you just want to qualify? And let me tell you very, very clearly, whatever aim that you have is an absolutely fine aim. You have to identify the aim on the basis of the resources that you have, on the basis of the learning that you have developed in the 5 years, and what do you think about yourself? And according to that, you have to develop that particular aim. So according to that, the multiple sections have been created in the QBank, thinking that the first thing that for every QBank is you should know why A is a correct answer or B is a correct answer and A, C, D are not the correct answer. So that's the standard part. Whenever you're doing any QBank, that you have to do. But depending on the time that you have, let's say that your aim is not just to qualify the exam, you want to get a rank in top 1000, then you have a high yield information available with that particular topic, where the question is not just the question and its explanation, it is about the high yield stuff for that particular topic. Can we go more down, Dr. Nachiket? I think this question has got one more component now.
Yes, this is the second component. This is the additional information.
So the whole idea is that how much hunger that you have for that particular subject. If you just want to check your knowledge of that particular question, that Are you getting confused? Because a lot of time people say, "Ki sir, I know the topic, but when I read the question, I am unable to analyze the question. I am unable to get the correct answer. I often get confused between B and C." So an apt information has been given that why A or B is the correct answer and why A, C, D are not the correct answer. But let's say that you want, to get in more depth of the subject, and that is why the high yield information has also been given. Just to give you more confidence, every question is being backed up by a reference from a standard undergraduate textbook. So that is how the whole idea of creating the QBank, and each and every question has been thoroughly verified by multiple time on this particular QBank. Over to you, Dr. Nachiket.
Perfect. So guys, if we are planning that you're already under somebody's mentorship, you're already working under, you're already studying from one source. So you can just join us in our basic plus plan on eGurukul. All right, that's just the QBank and test series part. Paro kahin se bhi, but QBank Gurukul ka karo. It is the most beautiful QBank right now. All right, and of course, we have gone through the new UX and UI. The app has significantly improved right now. If you have gone through the app, and the best part about DBMCI right now is that you get me as your customer care agent. So all the students of DBMCI get my personal WhatsApp number. In the next 1 year with us, 2 year, 3 year, however the time that you are with us, if you get any kind of problem, technical, non-technical, academic or non-academic, the only person you need to connect is with me. This is my WhatsApp number. You can all note this down. So whenever you get any kind of problem, I am the person you need to come to. It's my duty, it's my job to make sure that your experience with DBMCI is impeccable, is beautiful, is superb. That's my job, and I do my job 200%. All right, and we all are doing this thing only. Every student in Bhatia is special. Every student in Bhatia deserves the best. It's my job to give it to them. Right. With this, I would like to actually thank all the faculties for giving your time to this session. I think it was some beautiful piece of advice from Dr. Rajat, Thameen sir, and Jindal sir. Beautiful minds coming together, giving some impeccable advice here. Thank you, everyone. And guys, the admission for that Beat the Next Plan starts 12 p.m. tomorrow on dbmci.com. If you want to know the details more, please WhatsApp me. I will personally address each query of yours. And if you want to know more about NExT or anything else, my number is there. Give me a WhatsApp. We will talk. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.